Welcome, Roger.
Hi, Colin.
It's nice to have you. And it's one of those things that is happening nowadays. You know, coaching is being heard as a wonderful thing to do, and particularly with the Zoom and all this stuff that's happening, people are taking more to that. And people wonder because there are sometimes the people say, can we really, find any clients, or and do people need coaching, or how do you find people who need coaching?
Yeah, that is such a beautiful question and really exactly accurate that it's a big question for people who are, kind of thinking about it and scanning here and scanning there. One of the things that we know for sure is that everybody in the world has had their life uh, transformed to a certain extent by the history of recent time. And that goes for absolutely everybody, from teenagers all the way up through older people who are in the process of asking the question, what do I do now? Maybe I'm retired, or I'm going to be retiring soon, or maybe I've been retired for a while and I'm thinking, gee, life goes on, and I'm a dynamic character, and I'm interested in, how the world works and all that stuff. So let's just start with the simplest, most basic concept for how people get clients. And I'll tell a story about myself. I was recently on a hike to a place nearby where I live, where there's a hot spring, and I met someone who is a nurse, a traveling nurse, and she said, I'm a traveling nurse, and people in hot springs tend to be interesting characters, and so I found out very quickly that she was a nurse who was originally from Russia, whose grandmother was interested in health stuff, and she's mainly working as a nurse in the medical unit, but what she really wants to do is be into wellness. And so just by striking up a conversation and entering into that conversation with curiosity, basically me just saying, have you ever been here before to these hot springs? And did you come from locally, or are you from far away? And so I just being curious very quickly found my way into her area of interest. And this is something that, I don't know, I've always kind of done at parties.
Yeah.
When you go to an event and there are all these people there, and we want to pick up a new friend, shall we say, and then how do you do that? And like, what's the best pickup line? Well, the best pickup line in the world is, what is your favorite thing these days? What are you working on, and how's it going? And that's a coaching question. And very quickly, people will say, it's kind of like being with, if I may say, it's like being with Santa Claus. Santa Claus asks the question, what do you want? And in a way, doesn't everybody love to have a conversation about what they're aspiring towards and so forth? So what I'm saying is that at the very basic level, without any kind of promotional side of, like advertising and websites and all of that stuff, just entering into relationships with people. I've actually done this standing at a street corner, waiting for the light to change to the walk light, and just turn to the person who's there and say, you know,
Are you crossing? Are you crossing? Crossing to what?
so, they might say, I don't want to talk to you, or, but I lose anything by being a friendly person. Say, hey, what's your greatest interest these days? And,
Yeah.
you have the job you love, or whatever it is. And when we cross the street, I'm going to go this way and you're going to go that way, but we could have a nice social interaction. And there have been times when a person would say, wow, that I love that question. And then I would ask another coaching question, and I ask another coaching question, and we stand on the other side of the crosswalk and have a deeper conversation. So that's just the basic bottom of coaching, being a coach to anybody who you come into contact with. And remember, coaches don't give people advice. So the whole idea that I'm going to try to give you advice doesn't happen. It's just a lot of curiosity. And don't we love people who are curious about us? And when we get busy and have to go on, we go on, but we even remember that conversation later. That was kind of fun talking to that person. So then bumping up from there to finding clients, it really matters how you're entering into this. So let's just take an older person just for fun. And, older people who have retired and, there's more to life than just gardening. If you've enjoyed not working and you've been gardening and you feel like you've got a little extra time on your hands and you believe that it would be really cool if the world was a better place, and everybody out there needs a plan, a holistic life plan that is associated with the realities of their lives today and their aspirations. And so just being anywhere where those people are, and then of course you have to decide whether you're going to charge a fee. And some, particularly older people, they're in a situation where they don't need to charge a fee. So the pressure of having to ask for compensation isn't there. You can just do it for fun. But then let's take, and so then that's the senior center, the community center, the recreation place that you could go to if you wanted to, where there are other seniors who are wondering what to do with the rest of their lives, and starting groups, coaching groups like Circle of Life groups, where you get a little group of people and maybe you're live sitting in a circle, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're on Zoom and you have the kind of virtual circle. And so the coach helps people to learn how to communicate with each other so that they can have a fun and meaningful conversation that's not just about politics or sport or things that aren't working out with their children. Now let's take a teenager. Teenagers can be coaches, and it's just profound for a younger person to realize that everybody has an essential nature, because when you're a teen, the only thing you're doing is trying to prove yourself to everybody else. It doesn't have anything to do with your essential nature. And just having a feeling for the fact that I'm allowed to be the person that's dwelling within me, even if I do or don't satisfy the social norms for what everybody thinks I should be. And how often do we see someone of any age who has no real special, they're not gorgeous, they're not handsome, they're not famous, but they're loved. Why are they loved? Well, because they're curious and they're engageable. And that's what coaches are, is curious and engageable people. And so for teens, the whole idea of clubs in school and so forth. So, okay, you're a coach, you don't get paid, you're in this club, and everybody's getting empowered and they're reaching for that which they long for, and they're learning how to communicate with each other. Very, very powerful. Last little comment is that in the middle, where those people are who would be coaches, there's two. One is a professional, somewhere between 28 and 55. And those individuals either already have a job where being a coach would set them apart, and the clients are already there. So as soon as the boss recognizes that an individual has a special skill for calling people out and supporting them in developing their well-being and their productivity, that person is going to get tapped. Like the boss will say, well, that's great stenography, or that's great filing, or that's great graphic arts for our promotions. But I've noticed that you really have a skill with building the team. And coaching is such a powerful, life coaching is such a powerful team building methodology. And so we want to hire you, we want you to, in addition to what you usually do, we want to carve out some of your time so that you can be a team leader. So you already have a job, it's fine, you're being compensated well. And then they say, hey, we want you to be a coach. So now you're already employed and you get to do some of your professional time as a coach. How incredible is that? And we've trained hundreds of people who have had that very situation. In fact, one of the nurses that is one of the original coaches from all the way back in the last millennium is she got the job as a parish nurse because she was a coach. And then she became the executive director of the parish nursing program. So it all went back to the fact that she set herself apart from other nurses as someone who knows how to draw people out and move them into the higher ground. And parish nursing is all about working with people before they get to the hospital so that they can stay well. Very, very powerful. And then the last little subgroup is the professionals who are, between 27 and 55, who are not employed as a coach, but that's what they want to do. They're basically going to be an entrepreneurial coach. And in that context, there's going to be a fee that person has to collect. Remember, the other type of professional, they're already getting paid. So this particular type of individual is going to not only learn to be a coach, they're also going to learn how to market themselves. And most coaching programs, including the Circle of Life coaching program, training program, has parts of how to build your business woven in to the curriculum. And so learning how, as a person who's being coached, we learn how to respect ourselves more. And then, so a coach who has been coached and is probably being coached either by themselves or another coach is going to set as a goal, based on their intention to be a successful person, they're going to set as a goal to establish a fee and not be shy about charging it. And so coaching helps a person to become a coach. Coaching helps a person to set reasonable goals and action steps about becoming a more professional and more well-paid coach. And so it all goes back to coaching. And there are everybody in the world is a coaching client, by the way, including coaches. Because Rebecca, my partner, who's one of the developers of the Circle of Life system, she is a coach to coaches. So not only does everybody in the world need a coach, but coaches need coaches too. So this is just a huge conspiracy. And I'll say one more thing, and then I'd love to hear your impressions, and that is courage. Courage. Not everybody has the self-esteem to feel comfortable promoting themselves. And so one of the things that rises to the top in the coaching process, when people are really honest with themselves, when they become a coach, is that they realize that in their own life coaching for themselves, the thing that's missing is courage and self-esteem. And that's one of the most primary aspects of the Circle of Life process, is the whole component of our lives that's associated with our how we navigate the world, and how to cultivate our courage to blossom and bring forth the essence of our being. What are your thoughts?
Well, you gave one of the most comprehensive coverage of what coaching is, in terms of saying, everyone in the world needs coaching at some point in life.
Yep.
And so my only thinking along the lines is, what is that point in life that you will need a coach? And that point, you already pointed out, starts from the teenage or even younger, like children are being coached by mothers. Moms are great coaches, and they use coaching principles most of the time. Parents do that. So in reality, you started from a very young age, all the way up to the retirement, and you mentioned all of that. So you covered that whole gamut. Though it's only a couple of things I would observe here is that as the coaches themselves, you already said that they can have skill set, cultivate courage, learn to be honoring themselves as coaching, who they are by going through the process and then learning the skill sets. It almost sounds like you do not need a talent. No talent is needed. Anyone can cultivate, can learn the skills. It's a learning of skills and changing themselves. And so that is very impressive to me. That means I don't need a talent. I don't need a special talent or special learning. In fact, I don't need answers from which you said.
Yeah,
So,
this was such a powerful
yeah.
added insight, and I really big, quotations with a exclamation point with a big red dot under it about this insight that coaches do not need a special talent. And one of the things that most people kind of cringe about in their lives is, do I have a talent?
Right.
Here,
and the misconception, particularly when you go for a football coach, a football coach has to have no football. Well, it's a little different, slightly different thing than when we're talking about life coaching. Life, everybody has it. Everybody has the experience, and everybody comes to an area where sometimes the answers are not there. Sometimes there are more confusion. Sometimes there is no clarity about, because thoughts come in all different random ways. And to be able to arrange them, to be organizing, these are the kind of things that coaches really help people do. And so then the people will find their own answers whenever they are come to a bifurcation of saying what to do, and choices, options are there. So these are the kind of clients, and everybody goes through that particular phase in life at some point. And so that's just my thinking about that. And I think you really gave a wonderful coverage about every possibility there is. And so that was very helpful.
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity to just think it through. It's one of those things where when we get these questions and they just seem like, wow, that's a big question, but then at one end of it and just reel the whole thing in, it becomes a comprehensive aspect of the coaching world. I'm so glad you asked.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we welcome anyone and everybody looking at this video. If you're interested, please get in touch with us.